Well, hello everyone. This is Robin Carter with Robin's Creations. Today is October 15th, 2024, and I am here to share with you a card I've made with the new Shepherd's Care stamp set that's in the new mini catalog. I've had it in my craft room a while and finally had some time to play with it, so I wanted to share with you what I have made. Before we begin, let me thank those of you that are subscribed to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope you find some tips and tricks in this video that you like and would consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. We need only 30 more to hit 3,800. So if you can be a part of that, I would greatly appreciate it. Before we begin, let me also share some Stampin' Up! Specials that are going on in October. There are quite a few, so don't miss out on these. Through October, all the kits in the kit collection. Now, those are not paper pumpkin kits. There's a whole separate area that's just kits that come out like every 2 months. There's a new set that come out. Anyway, through October, those are going to be up to 30% off. So not all of them are 30, some are, but there will at least be some discount on those. So if those are on your list, don't miss those. Also, starting tomorrow, October 16th, all Close to My Heart products are going to be 30% off while supplies last. So if any of those have been on your list, be sure and check out the online store and get those in on order as well. So let me switch down now to the next paper pumpkins. I also forgot to share one more special, but I'll do that. So there's also a starter kit promotion that I forgot to mention, and what that is through October, if you decide to be a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Now that can be to start your own business or just as a hobby demonstrator. When you purchase the starter kit for $99, you get to pick $155 worth of products. That's $30 more than the usual $125. So if you've ever thought about being a demonstrator, I would love to have you on my team. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me and I'll do what I can to help you. But what I switched hands down for was to share the paper pumpkin. Now, it's too late to subscribe for this one. These are being shipped out. Mine has not even left Utah, so it could be a while before I get mine. I think maybe the label was created or something I got when I looked at it. But going on now is the November paper pumpkin kit, and it's going to include 8 of these cute little stockings. Now these stockings will hold a gift card, so that's good to know, and that would make great gift giving opportunities for small things like gift cards, jewelry, or fill them full of snacks. And I also will share some other ideas when that kit is here. Also, there's the December kit, and then the Merry tags and more dies. Now, I did find out they've already gone through half of their supply of these add-on dies. So if you love these, which I do, be sure and grab those up while they still last. The item number is 165639, and I can show those to you right here. So I generally get 2 sets just because I do a lot of die cutting for prep, and it just helps me to have 2. No need for everyone to have 2, but I wanted to share with you the size of these. So here is how it is in my hand. So it's quite large. You can see here, and I just scooted that. I thought I had it taped down good. The whole tag part is 3 1/4, not including the little notch. And it is almost 2.5 inches wide, so quite a large tag. Now, you know, if you wanted a smaller tag, you can do some tricky die cutting where you only run it halfway through and stuff like that. So you can make many different sizes with that one. There's this great little Merry die that'll be great for Merry Christmas, and this nice big fern die, which I used it in the last paper pumpkin. You may have seen that already. So let me put these away so I don't lose them. And I do just use a strip of magnet, some of my favorite things, magnets, and I store them in this same Avery L envelope that I store my paper pumpkin kits in, so to keep them tidy and hopefully not run loose. And as I get extra things cut, I stick it in that envelope too. But let's get to today's card. I obviously need to tape that down some more, so let's do that so I don't scoot it anymore. Okay, this stamp set is on page 56 of the new September mini catalog, and it's called Shepherd's Care. There are some great images here, and if you're familiar with my Etsy shop, I do have a cut file which cuts all these sentiments, so you may want to check that out as well. And I'll be using this one today, and so you'll get to see it. All right. Oh, I didn't share the item number. The item number for the Shepherd's Care is 164300. So, by the way, I do have a current host code here. So if you do find some products you'd like to add that are part of the Stampin' Up! Website, I do appreciate if you use this host code. And when you use this host code, you will get a special gift from me with any order of $75 or more. So be sure and don't forget to use that host code. All right, so what we're going to need is a thick white card base, a panel of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I have a couple cut in case I make a mistake, which I'm known to do. I'm going to tell you, I'm kind of nervous about making this card on camera. It's a little tricky on camera. You know, the first one I made, I was like, great, and I tried to reproduce it, and it wasn't so great. So let's hope this all works out well. What also could be helpful is some masking paper to use. Now, I had in my stash an old die from the Gorgeously Made, and it made a nice crooked landscape type. Well, I'm using it for a landscape today piece. So if you don't have that, you could just tear some paper, make it look, you know, like a landscape. That would be great. Here's the little die. I better put that on a magnet or it's going to be missing later. But anyway, that's what I used. And then also I did it on some scrap paper as well. And I did both sides. And you'll see why. It's just to give me the hills on one side and one on the other. That might be hard to see. And I do have inky fingers already. All right. And then also, as always, the Stampin's Care set. So let me get started, and we're going to start making our background. Okay, and this would have been a lot easier had they re-released the Oh Holy Night Designer Series paper that was in last year's mini. I love that paper, and that kind of gave me inspiration for the type of background I want. So let's get started now. I'm going to set some of this stuff aside just so I have more room to work on my little desk here. And I'm going to get out my different masks. We're going to start with the grassy portion. So that's going to be in Old Olive, and I have a small blending brush dedicated to greens here. And I need a piece of scrap paper. Let's see what I have around here just to kind of protect my grid sheet from getting all nasty. All right, so here's our sheet right here, and I want to start with the grass area. So I'm going to use one of these and just kind of make a uneven part of grass here. Now, if you have your masking paper, you may want to stick this down using the silicone sheet or something. For this part, I'm just going to use the paper and we'll go from there. I usually have my glass mat, which I love to work on, but it's so reflective that I just keep the grid paper here with you. But I have a lot of these little blocks that I received from Kits or Paper Pumpkin and so forth. But they make, they're not easy to stamp with. I much prefer the better, thicker blocks with the little grippies on the side. But I use these to blend my ink. So let's start that aside. And I'm going to lift this up just so try not to shake the camera as much. All right, so I have that kind of blended off, and I'm just going to set the brush down, not applying any pressure first, just to get the ink flowing. And then as it goes, I can do more and more pressure to get a darker grass area. So you can see that's the way to blend a little better. All right, I like that. And now we can start on the sand. Now I am gonna, the reason why I flipped it is so that I can cover up this area. Let's see, I don't know. Oh, I thought that was gonna work. Um, I'm having a brain. All right, so that's kind of the area I want to cover up. Okay, I figured that out. I just need to flip this one over. Okay, now I'm going to bring in some frog tape. It is like a paint tape. It's like the blue paint, except it's called frog tape, and it is the delicate surface one. So it comes in a box like this, and it's also part of my favorite things. It's kind of like washi tape. It's just a delicate surfaces one, and it's yellow. But because I don't want it to stick very much, I'm just going to put it here on my shirt and hold this down to cover the grassy area. And then we can start with our desert part. And for that, I'm going to use crumb cake right here and another blending brush. So let me get a different block out. Save that one for the green. All right, again, I'm going to try to lift it up so it doesn't shake the room as much, and put some down here on my block. I may need to re-ink this soon and just get started. Now I'm going to kind of create a desert scene with some different levels. So let me just start here. I have to tell you, this was kind of an accident when I first made my first one, and I decided I really liked it. So, you know, there are some good things that come out of what you think are mistakes. All right, so that's a nice little hilly area. And then let's switch it around to have a different level of, this is my masking tape. I'm going to grab this just scrap paper here. That's the same mountain. That way I can flip easier. All right, so let's get some more ink. And let's cover this area back up. I don't know why I have a hard time finding where I started before. I know I use this. Well, I used it upside down. That's what happened. All right, so we can move this if we need to now. All right, let me take the tape off and let's cover up what we just did. Kind of mask it off. I did use masking paper at first, but I had a hard time. It got so wet that it would tear every time I picked it up. So, especially on the blue. It'd probably work fine here, but I'm just using what you may have, just some scrap paper. All right, let's cover that one up and go with our next bit of sand. Now I have found on these blending brushes, if you just huff, your hot air will kind of help that go. But you know what? I know I want a hill on the right hand side, so I'm going to switch that around and work with it that way. There we go. Okay, well, I want the hill over here for my little city, so I'm just going to do another layer like that. I'll make this come down more to make it look different. And just begin blending. And like I said, just gentle pressure at first, and then you can, with a heavier hand, apply more. Let's see if that's covering up that part, and it's not. I must have moved my paper. So let's come down here and make sure we get in there. Could look like another layer of sand, which is fine. That's what I said. Each one of these is going to look different, and that's kind of what I like about it. All right, let's just blend these two together. All right, so there we have a little hill. I'm gonna put a little grass in there as well. Okay, also for grass detail, I brought in a stamp set from the Cutest Cows. The Cutest Cows, let me grab it for you here. It has a little thing of grass right here. And by the way, I did, before this video, I did a video on how I organize all my supplies. And that's what I went to. I went to my Evernote and I searched for grass. And that led me to this piece of grass here. So if you're looking for a way where you can search your inventory, check out that video. I shared 2 different softwares. Evernote used to be free. It is no longer free, but I was so far deep into how many notes I had in Evernote that I decided it was worth it to buy the annual, just the basic lowest level. So if you're looking for a way to organize your supplies and be able to find what you're looking for, like in this case it was grass, check out that video. All right, so now let's work with the sky. Now this is more of a challenge. Anyway, a little bit of a challenge. And let's hope it works well. As I said, each one of these is kind of different. And I shared with you, I'm already nervous to see if this really works. You can see I'm struggling with my different layers of covering that up. So let's get out the Night of Navy. All right, you're going to want a same kind of mask. And then I brought in the Brayer. It's new. So they've had Brayers, the Brayer goes away, and then it's back. But I found that's the easiest way to color the sky. Okay, so now let's cover up the sand. And let's work on our night sky. Now you want a very juicy pad for this, or I'm going to show you something I did to help it. It didn't have to be so inky. So I brought in my silicone mat, and then I brought in a re-inker, and I just did a strip of ink right on the silicone mat because I wasn't sure how inky my Night of Navy was, and I know it would probably drain it all of its ink. So then I just took my brayer. Now let me point out, the brayer has some little feet here, and that's so you can set it on your surface and it won't let the brayer hit your table. So when you go to ink it up, you want your feet to be up, one, so it doesn't mess up your ink pad. All right, so I just got some ink started, and then I went on my ink pad with that, checking to make sure I'm still in camera, to ink that up very well. All right, and then I'm just going to start, and I'm going to go in right here, and I got on my grid sheet. That's okay. I've got lots of grid sheet. I was going to try to keep it clean for the end of this video. Let me scoot this down some, or get another piece of scrap paper under there. That might be the easiest since it's already taped down. I have lots of old postcode scraps here. Let's set that under there. Now I want a very deep sky, so I'm just going to keep working with this. I guess you could do this with your blenders. I think it just may take a lot more time to get it so deep. Your blending pens, anyway, blending brushes. So I want a very deep night sky. And let my... This is the first time I've worked with this brayer, so I'm not sure I'm doing it right, but it is applying the ink quite deeply, which is good. That's what we want. Let me get some here and over there. All right, now to finish it up, I'm going to set this on its feet. I'm going to lift this up, and actually that got into... that did a pretty good job of blending all the way down. So you can decide, do you want more brown here? Let's do brown because it might blend in easier. than that. Okay, I'm happy with that. That one actually worked out well. So now we need to get to stamping with our Shepherd's Care set. So let's close up all the inks, get this inky out of the way so I don't get inks everywhere. And I do recommend, like me, if you got all inky, that you, I even can use Stampin' Mist for this sometimes when it's really bad. Is just squirt your hand and then have a paper towel to help get off any ink before we get started so we don't get blue everywhere. This is a very well loved paper towel. All right, put these away. Set all my scraps aside and let's get out our stamp set. So I already have these lined up in my Stamparatus, which is a stamp positioning tool. This one is no longer available, but the one on the market now is a Misty, and it is part of my favorite things too, only because this one's not available anymore. So I have, so these are cling, meaning you don't need the foam mat or deluxe foam mat. But I like to keep this surface clean, and I have created my own little stamping mats. Now, what this is, it's a 3-ring binder divider, and I've cut it to 7 3/8 to fit my Stamparatus to use in positioning my cut pieces. So I have a scan and cut, and that's what I've used to cut these pieces. So let's get those out. All right, I want to do the shepherd. So here he is right here. And then I'm going to use Smoky Slate. Now, I believe this is a distinctive stamp set. It doesn't say on the box, but anyway, what you want is less ink. Now, when I first went with this, I realized it was too juicy. So here's what you want to do. You want to take your ink pad, get like a plastic spoon, and watch as I work the ink down. I'm going to work it towards the label. You can see, or maybe you can't see very well, that it gets lighter. And so what I'm doing is pushing a lot of the ink down to the bottom. And then I'm going to use this side to ink my pad. To ink my stamp. I said to ink my pad. Okay, so let's cross our fingers. Hope I got it enough off. Okay, that's a good image. I like that. Okay, and then while we're here, we're going to do a city. So I have all my little pieces here ready to go. We're going to need a Prince of Peace. We're going to need a star. And the little city or town. The town of Bethlehem, I guess. All right, I have a place for it right here. Now the color I want to use for this is gray granite. It looks more like a city than like the little brown buildings. And press. Give the ink a second to soak in. And that did not line up very well. I may have to recheck that. You know what? I'll show you how I do this. I've been meaning to do another video of how to align your stamps, but we're going to get an opportunity here. So gray granite may be too light for this, so I'm going to bring in a darker ink and then we will go from here. You can see my negatives have like a blue on them anyway. So let's see if I have a spot that's dark enough. Okay, early espresso will work. So I ink this up, stamp on my grid and make sure it didn't move. It's still in the corner. Okay, so that's where it's going to stamp. Then I take my negative piece and I set it down. I look, and I may have to get my hair in the video for this. I try to get right over the center and then can tape that down. And sometimes it takes more than once, but it's a lot easier than stamping and die cutting, stamping and die cutting. So I should have several cities in here. All right, so let's clean up the early espresso underneath there. I just get a paper towel and I damp it, and then I just dab to get that up. If you still have a corner open, you can lift that up. You tape down this piece now. All right, so let's hope it's all in the center now. Put that in there. Okay, and then I want my gray granite. Oh, you know what? You got to clean your stamp first. It's early espresso. So when you use a paper towel to clean your stamps, you do just want to dab, not rub. Give it a second to dry. All right, let's give this one another chance. I have inky fingers. The good thing is I like to shower at night and the shampoo gets out all ink. Okay, that's pretty good. It looks like it missed some ink on this side. I can see it's still on there. And again, with these stamps, you don't want it to be too juicy or it'll get all in the little detail of your stamps. And of course, I have this one kind of in the corner. There we go. All right, so there's our little town of Bethlehem, I guess. Oh, and we need to do the star and the Prince of Peace. So let's set the Prince of Peace in there. And I've gone back and forth of, do I want this navy or black? And I'm going to try navy on this one. Knight of Navy. Okay, that did well. And then we need our star. Now the star, my die, it goes in a certain way. Looks like I got it the first time that time. I'm going to use Daffodil Delight on that one. And sometimes I like to do the star twice. Let's see how that works out. Actually, that's pretty good. Actually, I may do the middle a little bit more. Give it a double inking so it's extra bright. There, I like that. And it'll dye, it'll get a little less color as it dries. I have my chamois wet. Let's clean all the stamps pretty well. Okay, I can set that aside. And now the fun begins. So the only thing I really want to color is the shepherd. And what I found I liked the best was a Blends, a light balmy blue. Now, if you have watercolors, pencils, it might work, but I'm just going to go in with this and I'm going to use, I want a darker background, but I'll just try to do it best I can. So what makes this stamp so easy is I'm just putting the ink where there is some shading from the stamp. Okay, so there's his like collar or something like that. So like I said, I'm just going where they've already done the shading for us. With light balmy blue. His hand here, and then the bottom of his is there. So I'm good with that. And then I'm going to get a darker blue, and I chose the dark Night of Navy. I'm going to use the bullet tip and just go along the belt and his head covering. All right, and then we need to do the grass. And I have a light mossy meadow. So this is where you just need to pay a little more attention, because you don't want to cover up the sheep's legs and feet. So I tend to, like, especially here, there's grass, but then his hind leg is back there. And I have one halfway messed up one that I kind of look at. Like I'll show you. I did this one. I wasn't real happy with it. But you just have to be careful when you're coloring that you don't make his legs green. The little sheep or lamb, whatever you want to. As you can see here, I am not an artist. I just do what looks good to me. Need to get a little bit of. All right, I think I might have covered up some of his feet, but you get the idea. I'll probably do another one. I can't, yeah, I did cover up his little hoof right there. But that's how I would color him. As you can see, I tried adding some color to the lambs, and I decided I did not like that. But I do want to do his beard. And you can do any color. I have an old soft suede, but there are skin tones that are dark brown. The bronze would work as well. Just do his beard. And then for the face, I went in with dark petal pink. Okay, so just barely any ink there. That gives you an idea of, you'll see my finished ones. I did better. I can do better coloring than that. But as always, it's harder to do with the camera. I see what I did. You know what? Let's make another one. It's pretty easy to do. I'm not happy with that at all, and I want you guys to get the full effect. So let's do that again. Let's hope my ink hasn't gone back to its full thing. And again, with the full-size pads, you just want to, a little bit of a kiss, not a smush smush. Okay, let's do the grass first this time. And watch for his little feet, which did not get all the way done. There we go. Okay, I see the hoof, so let's keep seeing the hoof. And over here. I'm so thankful for the shading of the stamp, because I wasn't sure how to color it. Okay, so now we have all the sheep's feet. Let me find my balmy blue again. A little box of all my colors that I'm using. So again, just follow the shading from the stamp. Okay, happy with that. and get the dark marker. Okay, so that didn't take too long to redo. And the belt. Okay, I like that one better. We can see the sheep feet. Here was the previous one where I messed up. I kind of went right over his foot. Okay, so let's close our inks. All right, and bring back our scene that we made earlier. And so then just kind of lay out your pieces where you think you're going to want them. Now, here's what I liked to do with this. Even though I had a die cut, I did like to cut off any white piece that shows, just so it doesn't sit right on the sand, and just kind of the edges and the bottom. So I just trim that up a little bit. Okay, that way it sits more like that. I did go in and with the green, even though it's night, it looks like there's some trees or something here. So I just added a little green to those. Now granted, at night you probably wouldn't see that, but I think it just gives it a little more interest. And then of course we're going to have our star and our sentiment. So let's also add some other stars in the sky. Now you could use any star stamps you have that are retired, but I'm bringing in a white gel pen and I'm just going to start adding little dots. Okay, nothing, no rhyme or reason to the this, just randomly adding stars in the sky. So I found that was the easiest way. You could stamp and emboss with white, but that's pretty easy. All right, so now it's time for dimensionals. And I do cut these in half. I see now on camera, it might be hard to see the little stars. I'll hold it up when I get closer to done. All right, let's put down the shepherd. And I did do the grass because, you know, that was grass and he was feeding his sheep. All right, some dimensionals on the star. And for this one, I did want to use a large one, just right at an avalanche there of my glue. Here's a new large sheet from an old paper pumpkin, because a large one fits right in the center. You can decide where you want it. And the town, I'm going to glue that down flat right on the sand with some multi-purpose liquid glue. I almost need to get my tweezers out for that. And you can see why I put the hill here. That way it's a city on a hill. Okay, and then the sentiment, I'm going to also put dimensionals on it. I realized I left off a step and I'm going to take this off real quick. I decided to die cut this. All right, and I'm going to, let's see if he comes up pretty well. So I'm going to die cut this with the deckled embossing folder, not the deckled dies, and I'm going to use the largest one. So rather than bring in my big old stamp and emboss, I'm going to head over to my die cut machine, cut this, and I'll be right back. Okay, I am back, and here you can see I die cut it with the largest decal. So I decided I didn't need to cut off too much grass, so I went down as far as I could. So you know, when you make this, you may want to keep in mind that if you're going to die cut it, keep a good amount of grass down here. Now here's a tip, since I pulled these off, and you can see some of my dimensional came off as well. To help that stick again, I take my multi-purpose liquid glue and just put little dots on all of them. That way they will adhere well to the card, and then you can try to put it back in the same spot. At least it covers that up. No one will know, except you and I, that we did that. Now the city, let's see if it got too messy with the glue. Okay, we're going to be able to cover that up as well. See if I can scoot him over just a little bit. Good. And then the star, just for good measure, I'm going to add a tad of multi-purpose liquid glue to make sure he sticks. And then we didn't do the peace on earth yet, so let's add that. Okay. Now, I probably should have done this first. I did, I kept thinking, do I want a background? Do I not? But I really like how it just popped on a white card base. So that's all I put it on. So let me show you my other one. So you can see they're all a little different. Actually, I think I want to use, let's see if the multi-purpose glue works. So I don't smush everything. I did use tape runner on my other ones. And I did a couple other things to my other cards that I'll show you. And you can go with what you think you like. Now, can you see those little dots of stars on there? All right, so this is the one I made with you daringly on camera. Like I said, I was kind of worried about this one, but I have a couple others that I want to show. Let's see if I left anything off. So here's one, and you can see I went with a higher grass area. I think I like that better. And this one, you can see I also took my water painter and I flicked from the lid, like this. I don't know if I can do it over here. There we go. And it gives kind of a different texture. Let me hold that up so you can see it. Okay, and then I think I have one more. Yep, and you can really see the water droplets. Whoops, there. Was I off camera on the other one? So these are the two I made prior, but I wanted to share that with you because the Oh Holy Night paper is not here. I was real tempted to use it, but it was kind of hard to come by. So I said, you know what? We can make our own Oh Holy Night paper with inks and paper, cardstock. So I can see I forgot to go in and do his beard and face on our new one, didn't I? Not yellow. So let's finish this off real quick. It's amazing how that little bit really helps his face stand out. And I also have the skin tones, but not over here. So I'll continue to do the dark petal pink. Okay, so see what a difference those few little strips of marker made. All right, so let me switch back to myself. I always forget to do that. So thanks for joining me, everyone. I do like to keep my videos real, so I do make mistakes, and I just show you what to do in case you make a mistake. Some of you like that, some of you may not. I don't know, but that's my my way of doing things. So the best compliment you can give me is a thumbs up on this video. Share it with your other paper crafting friends. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are not already subscribed, and leave me a kind comment. I do try to read them all. So again, I hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully my paper pumpkin will come in this week. I really hope it comes in this week, and I will get to my unboxing. So again, thanks for joining me, everyone. And in the end screen here is a nice link to easy way to subscribe, my previous videos, and my online Stampin' Up! Store. So thanks for joining me, everyone. Bye-bye.